Sound like Cody Rhodes is about to make his.
Cody Rhodes at Backlash. That's what that sounds like.
Without the heavy fireworks and whatnot. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is the NXT review show. I don't know how much you heard about it. It's 4th of July.
We're not live yet.
Well, we are live. It really is live. It's the countdown is. But fireworks are going. We have our thoughts about NXT. The 4th of July of NXT. A losing team left NXT. And there was a underground match. So we can't wait to talk about it. Me and the Wrestling Doll. We are here. We are live. And we are going to give our thoughts after this intro.
You're good. I'll see you soon.
But hey, everybody, you are watching Unpopular Review, the NXT edition of Unpopular Review. It is I, the Grand Poobah of Tuesday nights, and I'm joined with the fantastic, the Wrestling Doll. I see, my pronunciation is awful. I had speech growing up. I see dark, but what is it?
Dahlia Dark.
There we go. Right?
The new name is my valet managerial debut this past Saturday.
Ooh, why don't you tell the lovely people how that was like?
Well, it was very interesting. So the thing is, my manager character basically is I'm with a faction called the Crazy Bastards, and they're like escapees from a psych ward almost. And I act like the nurse that does not want to be there, is annoyed as hell by them, and tries to control them at the same time.
That must be a heck of a gimmick, but I mean, check you out. You're doing some really big things out there in Florida. Now you're a manager. And it sounds like you had a blast doing it. So you're
it was absolutely fun.
That sounds great. Did your team get the winning fall?
Yes, we did.
There we go, because the Wrestling Doll was the manager. She knew what has to be taking place as a manager. Great job. Do you have any favorite managers? Like, is there any managers that stand out to you? That's
Elizabeth, of course. Rest in peace.
Who do you have?
Miss Elizabeth.
Miss Elizabeth was great. I didn't catch her in the 80s because I was born in 88, so I caught more of her in the 90s for myself. But as time went on and I understood how much of, I mean, when you think about Macho Man Randy Savage, right? I mean, he was great. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I said you think of Miss Elizabeth.
Yes, and you think about Miss Elizabeth. I'm sorry, I'm trying to adjust this mic because it was all in my face. Also, too, real quick, I do want to sit here and say happy birthday, America, as I wear my favorite Canadian superstar of all time, Bret the Hitman Hart. But Miss Elizabeth, she was a big part.
Red, white, and blue, but I do have some camel nearby me, so.
I had a camel, too. I told her to get the hell out of here because I didn't want to smoke. If anyone knows about Joe Camel, you know, he smokes a lot. But Miss Elizabeth was a big part of Macho Man. So that's tremendous that you would say mention her. She did, I mean, she was great. She was honestly really, really great. And a lot of people who was born in the 80s, they would tell you that was their first crush. Because Miss Elizabeth was, I mean, she was stunning. She was very, very stunning. What was I going to say? It's gone way too soon. I think she was, I don't know the exact age, but she had to be in her 40s when she passed. And it's such a shame because, you know, 40s young. We got a lot of people in the chat here. We're going to talk NXT. We want to say thank you guys for joining us on a Tuesday night. 4th of July, you guys could be eating hot dogs, hamburgers, shooting fireworks like Cody Rhodes' intro. But you guys are here to join us, and we can't wait to talk more about NXT with you guys. We got George. George was the first one here. He says, what's up, everybody? What's going on, George? He also mentioned, I have to say NXT was pretty good tonight. He's always been complimentary of NXT. George is like the gatekeeper of NXT, if you ask me. I'm surprised that the Creed brothers lost. Does that mean that they'll be to the main roster? We're going to talk about that, but I do believe that. I was, real quick, the possibility of them losing, I had a small percentage of it. What about you, Wrestling Dog? What was your percentage about them losing?
I didn't think that the Dyad was going to lose right now, only because they still have a little bit of time before their contracts are up, and then they can go wherever the hell they want. But I think with the Creed brothers leaving NXT, I think it's a possibility that they'll get put up on the main roster like Pretty Deadly did when they went swimming with the fishes.
Right.
Which ironically was caused by Tony D.
It's for me, when they, I don't want to talk too much about it. I want to wait until we get into that match, but I was surprised. But I think them being called up to the main roster is it's going to be a breath of fresh air for them to be added to that tag team division. Someone mentioned, I saw on Twitter, if you're still on Twitter, because a lot of people go into this thing called Spill. I don't know what that is because I don't
know what that is either. You just tell me something new.
It's hard to keep up with all these trends because I can't keep up with anything. I can barely tell my shit.
All these newfangled websites and social media apps making us feel old.
Do you know what MySpace is?
Yes.
Okay, now
this was a thing. I just didn't have an account. All my friends did, but I didn't have an account. I didn't want one.
I had a MySpace account. I thought I was a genius when I was putting the codes together, and you can have like not the gifts. It was like
everyone thought that they were geniuses and they were able to customize their page however they wanted, and everybody made such a big deal of their top 8.
Oh yeah, I called a lot of people stupid at that age because I said, you don't know how to do this, you're dumb. Meanwhile, I barely know my 7-time tables, but that's another story. Why don't we talk, let's just jump into NXT and we'll talk about that match with the Creeds and Dyad. We had Roxanna Perez against Devenport. I miss a good portion. Yes, I miss a good portion of it because so I'm at the age now, right? Wrestling doll. I gotta take naps. I like my naps. I take a good nap, and then I'm like, oh, I have a show to review. I need to get up. So I did miss a good, I would say 5 minutes of it. This match was, I feel like everything had to be for Devenport. She was going to get the win here. I know I'm not going by move of everything. Roxanna Perez, she's the baby face. She goes out there. She does a great job at what she does at being a baby face. Everyone's behind her. Devenport. She got to pick up a lot of steam as the heel. And I think I want to say she is the number 1 baby face. Talking about Roxanna Perez, I feel like she's the number 1 baby face.
As far as NXT, most definitely.
So beating the number 1 baby face, I think you put steam on her. And she beat her clean, too. I didn't see
that gives it even more steam.
Yes.
Because it was pulling the tights, using the ropes.
Yeah, and she beat her clean. I mean, this match was basic. Sorry guys, I can't break down and sit there and say this was a 5,000 at the Tokyo Dome. I can't do that. But I thought this match was basic. It was what it had to be. It gives Devenport a lot of steam. Wrestling Doll and the chat too as well. Give your thoughts about this match.
Well, it was a great way to start off the show. They definitely did put on a heck of a match, I will say. I do like Roxanna Perez, and I do enjoy what I have seen of Blair Devenport, so I'm looking forward to see even more of what Blair is going to do and who else she'll go after, even though I highly doubt that this with Roxanne is far from over.
It shouldn't be, because after that, I don't think Roxanne... I did want to put this comment up because Charmaine says, hi, Barbara and Boo Ron. I wish I knew where my list was. Oh, here we go. What is this? Okay. Give me a minute. How do we put that? What's that?
Charmaine, why?
Give me a minute.
You realize you're around him more based on where you live, not me, right?
Give me a minute. This list is pretty long. Because I put my mother on it like 6 times.
Because of you-know-who?
Goldberg, and also, too, my mother never got me that card bed frame that I was promised at 5. My mother actually wanted to be on air tonight. And she said, son, I said, yes, Mom. She said, I want to be on that NXT review show. I said, yeah? She said, yeah. Can I talk about Goldberg? And I immediately slammed the door on her face.
You did not slam the door on your mother's face.
I did not, because I woke up from my nightmare. I knew right away.
I was
real quick.
You would give me a heart attack if you told me that and that was true.
I wouldn't do that. I'm a mama's boy. I have a great respect for my mother, but she's not allowed on the NXT review show. I told her that. They got Hives too. We got also here, I can see the Creed Brothers on Raw going against the Alpha Academy, the Viking Raiders, and SmackDown against the Usos, the Street Profit. There's a lot of combinations that you can do with the Creed Brothers. I think there's so
Depends
much
on
that
what they can put up there as faces or heels. Because right now it seems like Alpha Academy is going more towards the face route, especially with Maxine in the mix.
Yes. I would put them. I'm trying to figure out like who has the least tag teams right now. I think I would keep them away from the Usos, so I would put them on Raw. And you couldn't have them as the babyface because, as you mentioned, Alpha Academy is the baby. I'm trying to figure out their tag teams. Like, so Alpha Academy's baby, right?
Yes.
What are the other tag teams? So Viking Raiders. Viking Raiders. I like the Viking Raiders, but the way that they have been booked on the main roster is just
bad.
There's no steam. I don't know if it's bad. It's just no steam behind them.
That's what I mean by bad.
Okay. There's just really no steam behind them. So I would put the Creeds on Raw, and I think it could be a mean number 2 because on what is New Day? I forgive me because I don't know where they're drafted, right? So are they on SmackDown? I'm not sure what's their actual where they're drafted at. We got Elizabeth was 42. That's so young. We also got I can see Roxanne getting her win back against Blair Devenport. Yeah, same. We got also 2. I figured she was going to win. She just got back. Yeah, good job. We got also George. He says Nakia Lyons is next to challenge Blair. I said Blair. I'm so sorry, Blair Devenport, because she did tag. But I don't. How long is Nakia going to be out? Because I know she has this injury. So
for like they said a year. So
we got you made the list. Yes, I have a list. Yes. Get your mom. No, I won't. No, I will always put my mother over. I don't stand a chance. Like I will always put her over. I don't stand a chance. Put them against Cedric and Shelton. See, I like Cedric and
Shelton.
I love them. I wish that they was doing a lot more with them, especially Cedric because he's young and I think he's so talented. And it always bothers me that
they're being turned into jobber status at this point.
It bothers me that they do that. George, you mentioned the Viking Raiders and Max. Where's the Maximum? Because I like them. I like them because the actor's good.
Tagged herself with Otis, as she called him. Mm-hmm. Maximum Models has been no more, basically. We don't know where Mansois and Marseille are anymore. I think they're in the back with catering, unfortunately.
Yeah, and you know what's funny because and also Elvis, don't be rude. The wrestling doll is right there.
Listen, you're not down here dealing with my new crazy bastards who would kick the shit out of you. So,
and there's no shit for him to be kicked out of because he's so small. The New Day is on Raw. Thank you for that, George. Because I had really no idea what their location was at. Maximum Male Models. I promise I can read here. Jeffrey mentioned. Let me see. It's missing, and we got also 2 here. Welcome, Badguy War. What is going on, Warman? We're glad that you are here joining us here on Unpopular Review. Hey, real quick, I feel like I'm not doing these plugs really good, right? But if you're on Facebook, if you're the last survivor on Facebook, because to me it's like Krypton, please give us a reaction, thumbs up, heart, all that stuff that's going on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to us as well, because then you know when we go live, because there's so much content here on Unpopular Review. We do. Yesterday, there was a wrestling podcast. It was with the executive consultant and the coolest of the day, Steven. Steven. I'm sorry. I was going to say his whole name. I don't need to do that. And they did a great job last night. You should continue to subscribe to us. There's also an AEW review show, Dark Side of the Ring, which is have you ever watched Dark Side of the Ring, Wrestling Doll?
No, but it's on my watch list.
It's a sad show. It really is. And you can catch
it. I hear.
What was the last one? I think the last one was Junkyard Dog. And I feel like so far this season, the saddest one, I mean, each one is sad. It's each one's sad. But the saddest one was the Grams. It's really some sad stuff there. But there's a review show on that. You can catch my co-host Shay Sawyer and Cat We Trust. It's a collab, and check them out. And also there's also for entertainment. I don't know what they're reviewing right now. I think they're reviewing Indiana Jones, The Last Dust Ball. Indiana Jones is pretty old, don't you think so?
Might be. I don't know.
He might be. He is old.
Speaking of companions, hi, New Age Man.
New H Man, what's going on? Hi guys. This is Happy 4th of July. What is going on? We got Elvis. He said 32 days until his 31st birthday, August 5th. Mark it on your calendar. And I'll say,
I got that to you, Mark, but for a completely different reason that has nothing to do with you, sweetie.
I know. I actually want to mark it that day so I know to tell him, go fuck himself. But we're going to carry on. And
well, we can send it to Easy, and Easy will tell him to drown, to do crazy stuff.
We had Alan Dawn, I'm sorry. Abby Mal, she's interviewed. She says she has faith in her boys. She called faith in her boys in this loser leave NXT match. She says she calls Schism poison. Tiffany Stratton interrupts and asks Mackenzie, "Why are you not interrupting me?" I'm sorry.
Why are you not interviewing me? I'm the #1 woman wrestler here in NXT right now because I'm the women's champion. Not for long, sweetie. Your reign is boring. You're basically a carbon copy of Carmella back when she was Princess of Staten Island, Mella's money, all that fun stuff. But even she was more entertaining than you are right now. No offense to you, but your character is boring. She's very awkward on the mic still. She can hardly speak halfway through without stumbling and fumbling her words half the time.
So you're not a fan of Tiffany Stratton so far as
not as a champion.
We did a review show. I forget which was the last PLE for NXT, and was asked how long she's going to hold the title. I don't see her holding the title long. She's not going to hold this title like how Mandy for a period. She's not
going to hold it for a year over. She's probably going to have it for probably to maybe October, November.
That's good. I was saying September, October, but that's even that fall period. You saying pretty much shows it to the fall. Who is somebody that you would put to take the title off her?
Based off of right now, if she weren't a heel, I would probably pick either Cora or Blair Devenport because they could carry the championship and they do have charisma on the mic. So I definitely would pick either one of them.
I feel like it's such a sin that Cora Jade
was robbed of her opportunity to be the new NXT Women's Champion, but now she can complain and moan about it until she is.
I do that at my job when I just don't get what I want. I just yell. I'd be like, that's the best I could do. I don't want to yell. This is going to be a non-yelling episode, guys. That's what we're going to do here. That's going to be the goal. But up next,
we talk about Elvis's comments then.
Someone's going to make me mad. I know I'm going to yell. It's going to happen. It probably is going to be Elvis because,
that's why I said don't highlight any of his comments.
I'm not going to highlight any of his comments. You can't even highlight him. He's under 5'2". You kidding me? Elvis sits here. I love that he has this Napoleon complex. He sits here. He puffs his chest out.
I think he's just a masochist because he enjoys the pain of us insulting him. But I'm somewhat nice about it. EC's worse.
He is a lot worse.
Prediction show alone, he told Elvis to drown himself somewhere somehow or kill himself, and I was like, even I don't say shit like that's Elvis.
I won't say that because that's not nice.
Back when you say
it's not a very nice thing to say. I won't say that, but I will make fun of his height. I believe Elvis, when he goes to bed, he steps on his step ladder, he sleeps in his little tiny bed, and he sits there and go, man, I'm very tiny, and now I got to go serve Papa Smurf. Which is terrible because Papa Smurf, I would never serve Papa Smurf. I would kick him. Let's move on. I don't want to highlight anything about the Smurfs because the Smurf sucks. Scooby-Doo sucks. I can go on about things that suck. DoorDash sucks. Their service is terrible. I did a wrestling promo on DoorDash, but no one listened to me. We had Mustafa Ali against Tyler Bate. Last week he was the ref in that match. A lot of people were really looking forward to a Wesley Tyler Bate match, which was going to kill a singles match between them. But Mustafa Ali was a very crappy ref.
He was a very switchy tweener ref, which was so weird. It seemed like it reminded me of Dean Ambrose when AJ Styles and Ellsworth were wrestling for a title at one point. I believe it was for the SmackDown belt.
It was
And
the
Dean
WWE.
Ambrose was sometimes like distracted tying his shoe or interfering or not even paying attention. That's what it felt like in the beginning. But then he got his shit
2015.
together and acted like a decent ref. Even like going out after them when they rolled out of the ring and like waking them up to make sure that they finished the match, which was
That was
interesting.
2016. It wasn't for the WWE Championship. I apologize because I was so wrong, but it was just a regular match. And yeah, Dean Ambrose was just Dean Ambrose was great. I'm sorry, like I loved Dean Ambrose. He was doing some wacky stuff. I remember this one. I just want to mention this Dean Ambrose moment. It was I forgot what year. I think it was 20. I think it was still 2014. But it was one because Miz thought he blew up like this wall to escape, and Dean Ambrose said no, there was just a door, and I just exited. It just I don't know. He was so great, and now here he is, like just bleeding all over the place. But
Lady bloody every other week on AEW.
yeah, I played Fight Forever. I haven't. I want to do a thorough review of this game because it's supposed to be similar to what everyone keeps saying, No Mercy, but they mean the THQ for the N64 because WCW had, and that shows my age. Like WCW had their THQ games, WCW First NWO World Tour, WCW NWO Revenge, and I remember wanting that game so much. Shout out to my parents because they got that for me. This is why I'm going to take my mother off the list right now, but I still hold a grudge about the car bed frame because I really wanted that. This is why I use this podcast, just to explain how hurt I am to you guys. But we had Mustafa Ali against Tyler Bate. This match was pretty solid. It was pretty good. It showed how evenly matched that these two were, but Mustafa showed up, got the win with the 450. There was a spot where Mustafa was both Mustafa and Tyler were on the turnbuckle, and you can hear the chat, the crowd. I said the chat. I'm sorry, I'm talking about you guys in the chat, but the crowd is in there saying, "Please don't fall," because I can see how concerned they are because this is a dangerous
It's a legitimate concern because I've seen stuff like that happen. I was at a show supporting one of my friends. He was having a match, and him and his opponent were like close to like the top turnbuckle, and the guy next to me was chanting, "Please don't die." And I said, "My friend's not gonna die." So.
Yeah, there was a spot. I think it was one of the War Game matches, and you've seen what War Game is, and when they're on top of the cage, and this might have been the first one because I think Adam Cole was in it, and you could hear the chat. No, it might have been the second one because I think Ricochet was in it.
Versus Ciampa, Dijak, Keith Lee, and Kevin Owens.
That was the third one, I believe.
The second one, 2019 or something.
It might have been the second one because it might have been 2019 because the second one had Ricochet, and I remember the crowd. They might have said it throughout the whole each and every different one, but you can hear the chat. The chat. I keep saying the crowd. I'm thinking about you guys, the chat, but the crowd. They said, "Please don't die." Yeah, because you know that's a hell of a fall. But and we also see in the chat. George, he mentions that now Ali wants a shot at the NXT North American Championship. I think that I think Mustafa against Wesley
would be a match.
I think that's going to be a great match. Mustafa is great. It's just he doesn't win. I don't see him winning that at all. But do you want to add any thoughts there, madam?
Well, the match was solid. It's always very fun to watch, and people can finally see what Mustafa Ali has to offer, because when people think Mustafa Ali, one of the first things that comes to mind is Retribution, and also when he was teaming up with Mansoor, which was a interesting time, I'm going to say that. And every time he winds up looking like... And now he's looking better. So what we can say, Wesley versus Mustafa Ali is going to be a hell of a show. I would like to see that at the Great American Bash.
If I could sit here and say Mustafa Ali and Mansoor, there was an interest there with them being a team. I was interested in that, and it was cut short. I can't stand behind the Retribution stuff. That just wasn't for me. I remember reviewing it. When I first started here with Unpopular Review, it was 2020. Everyone knows what kind of year 2020 was, right? And I remember reviewing it, and I think it was SmackDown. They didn't have a name yet, but you just saw these guys. They came out, they flipped over stuff, they burned stuff. And I remember sitting here in one of my notes. I never forget my notes. I said, "That mofo has a chainsaw." That's it. He cut the ropes with a chainsaw. Like 2020 was a weird year. I don't know, but I can't stand for but he gets the win. I also want to talk about this real quick. Baron Corbin, he has a vignette. He talks about how embarrassed he is about his loss to Carmelo Hayes. He talks about how he has the fame, the fortune, but he can't bank on his past. And then that's when he shows and he burns everything, like his old gimmick. I'll say costumes, but his outfits. And
he burns all the gimmicks. He's saying he can't live in the past.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to focus on the future.
And it makes me interested in seeing what he's going to go with, because I really enjoyed the Lone Wolf. I think that was something that he could have gone back to, and I feel like a lot of people wouldn't have complained about it, but he burned that as well. I couldn't get behind. What was it?
Corbin.
Yeah, when he was the Applebee's Baron Corbin, the King stuff didn't bother me, but I've always
double check the thing with War Games. The one that I mentioned, that was number 3. Although it's funny because the Undisputed Era was involved in the 2017, 2018, and 2019, and it lost 2 out of 3.
That was really their match, and they only won. It was 2 out of 1 because that 2019 they lost to.
2019 they lost. 2018 they lost.
Oh, did I stand correct? It's hard to keep up with all this wrestling now.
Yeah, they lost in 2018. They lost to Pete Dunne, Ricochet, and the War Raiders.
What was the other one that they lost to? 17.
Yeah, to 2017 against the Authors of Pain and Sanity.
No, they won that one.
Yeah, that's the one I'm saying they won.
Oh, that's what I'm trying to figure out. The one they lost, but the only one they lost was 20.
No, the only one they won was 2017. They lost 2018 and 2019.
And they had to win 2020 because they went against what's this guy's name? Oh my God, I'm mad. Matt McAfee, Pete Dunne, and they won that one.
Well, with the feud that Adam Cole was having with him, yeah, they beat McAfee.
So they're like 2-2 again.
Birch and Lorcan, the former grizzled young veterans, now known as the Dyad.
Well, there you go. No, there was no. You're talking about no, because they're 2 different people.
20 War Games.
Yeah, no, but the Grizzled Young Vets wasn't in that one. That was no.
Yes, they were. Those are their old names.
Who?
The new members of the Dyad.
No, they're 2 different people. I promise you, they're 2 different people. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but they're 2 different people. I totally promise you. Because they're not. I know who you're talking about. You're talking about oh God, I'm blanking on the name.
Oh wait, one of them is in there, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Someone in the chat, help us out here because it's been a while. But 2020, no, it wasn't the Grizzled Young Vets. It were 2 different other people. I know this because one of them have hair in the Grizzled Young Vet, and these guys didn't have any hair. One of them had that music. I remember I would always sing the song. I'll go, whoa, whoa. Got the song. It reminded me of some Offspring music. But I'll carry on and move on. We talked about Baron Corbin. We talked about that. All right, bet. Okay. So we had Joe Gacy and Ava Rings that asked about pushing Dyad in this loser leave NXT match. This was the part where I honestly thought Joe Gacy was going to screw his teammates because he mentioned that the right team is going to win and we're going to eliminate the weak team forever. So you hear that and you can't help, for me, I couldn't help but go like, oh, Joe Gacy's trying to get rid of his boys, or so-called boys. We had Tatum Paxley. I mean, did you want to add something real quick to this? I apologize.
I highly thought that he was talking about his boys on the account of he wants them to stay, even though he put them in that situation. So I think it's probably calling them the right team to give them more motivation to keep their asses there until their contract expires.
You know what I think, and we'll talk a little bit more. I'll save my thoughts for that match, actually. But we had Tatum Paxley against, I'm hoping I pronounced this lovely lady's name, Kalani. There we go. See, I for the show, just to tell you guys there in the chat, I say the name 8 times just to make sure I get things right. And like everything in life, I don't get everything right. I spill things. I made some egg whites this morning. And as I made egg whites, someone said, "What's burning?" And I have since been wiping my face this morning because I've been crying. But we have this match. Tatum, she's going through a golf look now. What do you think about her look? Talking about Tatum Paxley.
I think she looks fine. She's exploring with her character because she didn't really have too much big character other than trying to be the second woman in Diamond Mine. So it's nice to see her like try to experiment, do something new, see what works out. I mean, Rhea Ripley experimented when she was in NXT with her dark thing, and look at her now, women's champion.
There we go, and see what happens with Tatum. Tatum, since splitting with,
I don't know about her mic skills, but we'll see. Because Rhea has better mic
I think
skills.
if you give her some reps and give her some time, give her a chance.
Yeah, at least they give her time and they put her in house shows and level up to actually give her that to do something with it.
Right, because I think there's a good look to Tatum, but I don't know enough about her. Even in the ring, I don't know enough. I don't watch. You mentioned NXT Level Up, like I don't watch that, so I wouldn't know anything.
I don't watch too much Level Up unless I'm there. So,
well, there you go. We had Jordan. They mentioned that she debuted in the Battle Royal a few weeks back for the number one contenders match to be the number one contender for the NXT Women's Champion. It was a good showing because I'm not familiar with Jordan. Are you familiar with any of her work?
No, I'll be honest, I'm not.
Same. I'm not sure if, like how you mentioned NXT Level Up, I'm not familiar with that because I just don't watch it. So I'm not sure if she got a lot of reps on there. But from the things I saw, I said, she's impressive. She's great. I will sit here and say once again, give her some more reps to get in the ring just so she can get better. She gets the win, beating Tatum. Tatum went for a suplex, and Jordan countered with a stunner. I saw this thing on Twitter, and it made me laugh. It made me chuckle. It said, "You don't powerbomb Billy Kidman, and you don't suplex." How do you say her name? I want to make sure I got it right. Keilani Jordan. You don't suplex Kiana Jordan. And George is mentioning that she was a former gymnastics. Which makes sense because, I'm sorry because I didn't include that she came out here with Dana Brooks.
Dana Brooke is a workhorse because she was just on Raw yesterday.
She was? I'm not even being funny. I missed
the gauntlet match they had for contendership for the Women's Tag Team Champions, which, mind you, WWE missed opportunity. Emma and Dana Brooke. Hello. Instead, they put him with Tegan Nox and Nikki Cross, which was weird.
I missed a great part of that Raw because once again, I gotta take naps. I'm sorry, guys. Naps are great. I didn't
watch the episode, but I see stuff on Instagram that tells me so.
I see a lot of things on Instagram, and I sit here and I cry because there's things I'm saying to say. I ain't asked to see that. I don't know if that was my first yell of the night, so that don't count.
Well, it wasn't super duper loud, so it was close, but not there yet. So you still haven't yelled yet.
Good job, Wrestling Doll. Wrestling Doll, I think I could spoil this. I was talking to my former co-host here for NXT, and Shay Sawyer wanted to be back. And I said, she said, oh, run it by the Wrestling Doll. And I said, no, Wrestling Doll is going to be great because you know what? You can keep us in check because you know how much Sawyer is always in the wrong of everything because her opinions are just very wrong. No, it's okay. It's all right. So I'm glad to know that you're already on the right side of justice. And good job. I want to sit there and say good job. H-Man's not in the chat. You know what? H-Man needs to be on the list because why is he not here? Jeffrey, give Wrestling Doll 25 points. I would give it to George, but I know George is going to turn on me soon. But yeah, Jordan gets the win. We have Cora Jade. She's not impressed by any of this nonsense.
Cora Jade's not impressed with anything that's not her.
She's not. She's not.
She'd watch back all the matches that includes victories in it before she turned heel.
She's not impressed. She even mocks I said Deanna. I'm sorry. Dana Brooks. No, Dana Brooks. She mocks her.
Which means the feud's still gonna be going and everybody's gonna be disrespectful. Dana Brooke chanting for her to go away, saying nana nana, hey, goodbye, thanking Cora for breaking her leg and all that.
See, good job. See,
very disrespectful to everybody.
Jeffrey gets he understands the job.
Yourselves.
Jeffrey gets the job. He understands. He gives you 25 points. Good job. Someone opened the door for H-Man, old H-Man. He's out the door. He's betrayed me for the last time. But yeah, we have. I'm sorry because I was sent pictures, but yeah, she gets the. Make sure it's uploaded. I'm sorry because my screen is slow, so forgive me.
It's up there.
But she got the win. She's going to be having a match next week.
I love how they're giving a good number of these girls pink to wear, concerning the fact that the Barbie movie is coming out in a few weeks.
Is it? I think
it's
coming out in a few weeks.
Yeah, on the 21st.
I will be there. You know why?
As will I with my friends.
No, I just need 8 hours of sleep.
Hey, the movie's not going to be that long, and B, go watch that Oppenheimer movie that everybody's talking about then.
Which movie?
It's a movie about the invention of the atomic bomb.
I will go there because I am tired. I don't mind paying for my sleep. You're excited about seeing the Barbie movie. Was you a Barbie girl growing up?
Oh, absolutely. That's my nickname with my family and friends.
That should be the gimmick, the wrestling doll, but it's like the Barbie. Like, I get it.
I don't want to use my actual name or anything to do with my real name in wrestling. So, just like EC doesn't use his real name, I'm not going to use mine.
Brilliant. That's a great job. Who's EC? He's barely here on the wrestling side of anything.
Well, he's on the managing side of wrestling, so.
What does he manage?
Wrestlers at local shows here in town when he's not doing ring announcing.
I gotta give a shout out to the executive of the Chris. He does have a great job. He has this amazing showman jacket. I told him one time, I said, when coming up to New York, you need to wear this, and he doesn't wear it. Matter of fact,
because it's easy. But anyway.
Hold on, wait. I'm sorry, I gotta get this over. Jeffrey, take negative 30 points from the executive Chris because he's disappointed me. I want a negative 30. Matter of fact, you know what? Negative 35. It makes me feel better. It'll make me go to sleep better. So negative 35, Jeffrey, please. Thank you. Andre Chase, he has a segment. He praises. Listen, God darn it, he praises Duke Hudson, and as he should, because Duke Hudson, as Andre Chase was out there. I don't know what he was doing. Everyone keeps talking about he was injured. He might have been at a bar. He was
injured. Braun Breaker broke his hip.
We don't know that. We don't. I'm sorry. I don't have no. Where's the proof? I'm sorry. I've never seen that. No one knows that. He might have been at a bar somewhere, just get his licks off and laugh. Meanwhile, Duke Hudson was doing the work out there at Andre Chase University, doing what he has to do, holding it down. And Andre Chase, now everyone wants to give him credit and sit here and go, good job, guys. Let's see, negative 35 for Chris Harris, negative 35 for EC for wearing glasses indoor. Matter of fact, add a negative 36 there, Jeffrey, because he does. Who wears glasses inside? What are you doing? I was close to doing that because I wore a Bret Hart shirt, but I didn't want to disappoint you guys because I am the top babyface here on Unpopular Review. At least top 5, I'll say that. But Duke Hudson, he holds it down. I love that Andre Chase gave him the praise that he deserved because I listen to people and they go, hey, Duke is going to turn on you. Hey, Duke, he's so terrible. Hey, Duke, he's this. No, Duke has been duking.
Duke Hudson did what he needed to do. Great job. I am happy he didn't do a heel turn on Andre Chase. I will give credit where credit is due.
Good job, Russell. See, let me tell you something. You've been doing a great job here. I hope you keep the same energy when Sawyer tries to come in because she confuses everybody and everyone turns on me and everyone thinks I'm the bad guy. And I don't know why. I don't understand.
I will not answer that.
Good job. So we have this segment, and honestly, too, Jeffrey, I saw you on Twitter, and I saw you say on Twitter, like you feel like Duke didn't do a good job as Andre does when he does the, when Andre breaks out and he goes like, and then I'm gonna, and he starts yelling and cussing,
profane things that we don't expect.
How do you think about this segment, Wrestling Doc?
Well, I think it was very entertaining and very interesting, and I was happy that Duke got his flowers for doing what people did not expect him to do, which was actually stay on his side.
I never turn on anybody who has been. I don't turn on people.
You don't turn on people unless they're wearing white pants or Vans.
Yes, I gotta say, we've worked long enough for you to understand that. Listen, bad fashion, I can't stand by that. Listen, I stood by that in junior high. I let this person think they were a fashion guru, and then this person was nothing but trash. He not only was he trash. Let me tell you what kind of trash he was.
Oh my God, can we
The kind
not?
of trash that when you put spoiled fish in the garbage, that kind of trash. That means he
Interesting.
stinks, and no one wants to be around anyone that stinks.
Oh boy.
I won't go into any more Dyad.
Let's not.
But we had Eddie Thorpe against Damon Kemp at the NXT Underground. Was you able to? So I mentioned 2020, right? 2020 was a weird year. Everyone knows that, right? Was
Yes.
you able to? Do you know enough about the Raw Underground?
No. Other than that, they don't fight with the ropes around, that it's just the ring, but I don't know too much about it. I've seen clips here and there because friends of mine who did wrestle in a WWE to be like jobbers or stuff like that did that, but I don't know anything about it.
So in 2020, I forget what point, but Shane McMahon had something called Raw Underground. I forget how many episodes, so please in the chat, please help me out here because I just don't remember how many episodes they had. They didn't have many, but they had a few episodes because once again, 2020, they had to find a way to make Raw interesting. 3 hours of Raw, and we're going through the pandemic, and they would just have like was supposed to be like a underground street fight kind of thing. Like how you mentioned, there was no ropes. Braun Strowman had one. I remember he went against Dabba-Kato. I remember one where MVP, Shelton, and Bobby Lashley. I don't know who they fought, but they just beat up a bunch.
I did see clips of them. I did see Kevin Owens in a clip like running and stuff like that. So
There was one with I'm blanking on Ronda's friends. So yeah, Shayna Baszler, but
Marina Shafir, Jessie May.
And what was the other one's name?
Marina, Jessie May, Shayna.
No. Right, and I'm saying those two had one, and they beat up some girls. I think they beat up the Iconics, but that was a thing. And I see Jeffrey in the chat, and he says, God, don't let us remember. 2020 was a wild time. It was.
2020 was an interesting time, and if it wasn't for 2020 in October, when I had met the friends that got me into wrestling, for me to be here and do all the shit I've been doing. So
I have to sit here and say I talked to a few people about reviewing wrestling in 2020. It was wild because it was so different in 2020. Like I keep mentioning 2020, and it wasn't that long ago. We're in 2023. It was 3 years ago. But it was such a time where things were just hard. Like, I don't know how you guys, people probably even ask me, how do you still stick being a wrestling fan? I think when you've been a wrestling fan for so many years, you're just not going to stop. But it was hard being a wrestling fan in 2020 because it was just such a different time. But getting back into NXT, the Underground, Eddie Thorpe against Damien Kemp. Eddie Thorpe comes out with Gable Stevenson. I'm sorry, yes. He comes out with him. These two go back and forth. The spot where, and I actually really yelled out loud, like really yelled when Damon hit the belly to belly to the outside to Eddie. Everyone knows how dangerous a belly to belly could be.
Yes.
If you think about last year, and it was a freak accident. I'm sorry, I can't think of the man's name from Sheamus group. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his
Brawling
name.
Brutes.
Yes. What's his name? He's the big dude, not Butch.
I said Rich Holland.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm kind of deaf. I'm sorry. But Rich Holland.
Who dealt with someone that was kind of deaf for 6 months, you're fine.
No, okay. I am fine. Thank you. I just got my hair done. Thank you.
Yes, you did. It look nice.
Thank you. Shout out to Mama Badguy. She did a great job. Damn, I gotta take her really off this list, right, guys? Like, I can't put Mama. No, but she like Goldberg.
Maybe you just write her name in a teeny tiny space, or make it really small, because it is your mama.
God.
You do what you want with it.
All right. I'm sorry, guys. Hold on, give me a minute.
But the match was crazy. It was very intense. It was definitely a showstopper, something that if they run that back again, it's going to be hard to top. So I'm just gonna say that in terms of my first Raw Underground match.
This match was pretty rough.
As expected.
Damon, my thing with Damon, right?
Damon needs to shut the hell up and just find someone else to job out to. Find somebody in the performance center to job out to so he can leave Eddie Thorpe the hell alone.
Damon, my thing with Damon is that, and I think a lot of people were saying this with Bray Wyatt, right? He'll make all these threats and all these promises.
He's all bark, no bite.
He really is. I dropped my remote. Sorry, guys.
You're fine.
But he never wins. Like,
no,
I honestly thought
their jobber.
I thought that he would win actually tonight, and he didn't.
They're making Eddie look too good, so I don't think they're gonna try to.
A lot of people, and I'm interested. Are you into? I'm not, and this is no knock to Eddie. I just don't.
I'm meh. I don't really care too much for Eddie Thorpe. He has a decent look. He can wrestle decently, but I don't care too much for him.
I don't see it necessarily with him. He has a different look. And I think that's a really good thing when you have a different look from everybody. So that's a good thing. I just don't see it with him yet. And maybe as time goes on, I will see it. I just I don't see it at the moment. He gets the win. He beats
Damon Kemp.
And after the match,
brother, which is fun.
And Jeffrey mentions how's it feel. Jeffrey, and you know, and shout out to you, Jeffrey, sir, because we had the same wavelength too, because you was mentioning how Gable was training Eddie, and you're like, yo, but that's the brother. And I was thinking the same thing, like Gable was going to turn, and we were both wrong. I'm giving Eddie some time to develop, talking about you, George, and and that's great. I think that's what I need for myself is to give it more time. I'm just saying at the very moment I don't see it, but I will give it time. That's a great way of looking at it, George Lewis. But I thought the same thing as Jeffrey once upon a time, and seeing how Gable had nothing to do with this match at all. He only showed up. I was at last year's WrestleMania, and he attacked Chad Gable. It was the Battle of the Gables, the last Gabe, the Battle of the Gabe, and he tossed him around. And I guess Gable said, "Oh, the match is over. Let me fling people." One dude, I don't know who this dude was. He just looked at his medal, he kept touching it, and Gable was like, "I'm sorry, I gotta throw the spot in. Right? I'm sorry, let me throw this in real quick." I thought it was hilarious because Eddie just got thrown and he almost landed on his neck. Thank God he didn't land on his neck, right? But you see Gable with the medal, like he keeps doing this. He keeps doing this with the medal. And Booker T said, "What the hell is that going to do? Chris White, what is that going to do? That's not going to heal him, Gable."
We don't know.
No, I do, because someone flinged the medal at me, and all I had was a bruise. So no, it doesn't heal you. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be yelling. I think I already.
No, it's fine. I'm just got somewhere. Unfortunately, have to go, and my ride is here. Sadly.
Go ahead, take it. I'll take it from here, Wrestling Doll.
All right, bye everybody. It was fun seeing y'all.
The Wrestling Doll's gonna cut out. I got it from here, folks. Let's do it. Let's talk about Mello. He called out it just zoomed in right on me and all the sweat and stuff like that. But we had Mello. He calls out the Judgment Day. You know, he had his fair share. You know what I like about this segment? It's continuity. You know, he not just Mello. I'm sorry. I was thrown off by all this. So please forgive me here, ladies and gentlemen, as I get myself together here. But Mello calling out Judgment Day. I like this. I like that there's some kind of connection here with Mello. He's not going to be called up to the main roster anytime soon. But there's something about this that just intrigues me. He calls out Judgment Day. He says, "You send out mommy down here." She was saying a whole bunch about nothing. And he invites them to come down to NXT, which later on in the night, if I can just combine both segments here, Finn, we do have a picture. I was sent this by, I don't even think I have to say who sent me this. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I thought, oh yeah, we do have a second. We do have it. I don't think I need to tell you guys who sent me this, but this guy answered and he said, "Oh, you want to call out Judgment Day?" I gotta sit here and say though, Finn is coming down here to NXT. Look, George, are you still in the chat? You still in the chat? Please stay with me here, George. Look, Finn, what happened on Saturday with Finn? Finn got dominated, and I hate saying this to you guys. Like, you know, I don't like reporting domination, but he got dominated by Seth Rollins. And now Monday, there's this fight between the family with Judgment Day, and now he's going to pick a fight with Carmelo Hayes. So you can get, say it with me, folks, dominated. Jeffrey's in the chat saying he did. I hope you bring that same energy on Thursdays and you mention how he got dominated. And look, I like Finn. I just don't, I'm just not a fan of people getting dominated, folks. That's all. But he accepted the invitation, and I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen next Tuesday. It's going to be interesting. Tony D, he confronts Stacks. Let's talk about this segment here, right, folks? Tony D, Stacks shows up, and once again, I never trust Stacks. I never trust him. And you know why? Because he wears white pants. I won't even tell you what color pants I'm wearing because they're not white. He talking about Stacks. Tony D says, "What the hell all that was about? What was that voice note?" Stacks shows that he made a deal with Joe Coffey. I almost said Joe Gacy. Forgive me here, but I'm sorry. I'm laughing so hard because I'm laughing at George because he said Finn did get down, and he put it in caps. Like, is that what it sounds like when I say dominated? I don't know. Is that what it sounds like? Finn got dominated, and now he told Damian Priest, "Don't cash in." You know, cheap plug because we're gonna do Big Pop. I hope you guys listen to that in audio. I have to deal with all that stuff on the Sunday record about having to report about Finn being dominated and being told I'm wrong, but whatever. But Tony D, once again, he confronts Stacks. He makes this Stacks makes his deal with Joe Stacks. I'm sorry, Joe Coffey. Stacks says, "Hey, if I win and win, I get a shot. We get a shot at the NXT Tag Team Championship, and then Tony D will be out." Joe mentions, he said, "Yeah, but if we win, Tony's gonna be locked away forever." Tony is not happy with any of this, and mentioned saying like, "Stacks, it's gonna be a 3-1 attack. So what are you doing? This is not smart." There's a disagreement between them because Stacks like, "You don't believe in me." Tony's like, "No, but this is not smart." And Tony D and Stack mentioned like, "You didn't make me the underboss for no reason." So next week when I have Stacks against Joe Coffey, we had a Jacy Jane versus Lyra Valkyrie match. I'm not gonna hold you guys. This match I was watching, but I was moving around a little bit. It was great to see Jacy Jane. There was a period. Matter of fact, last week is when they had her back on NXT. And I remember wanting to tweet for a period where I was going to say, "Where's Jacy Jane?" Because she had that match with Gigi Dolan's. Then we didn't see her. And it was like, what's going on with her? Where is she? What's happening? She talked a lot of trash about Lyra last week, which led to this match. And Lyra, she gets the win over Jacy Jane. It was a solid match. It was really good. I figured that they would keep Lyra strong here, keep her to win. I don't necessarily think and see her going for the NXT Women's Championship because she had 2 shots at it. You know, like she had that match with Tiffany. Then she also had that match was it NXT Stand and Deliver where she was in the ladder match? I feel like she had 2 chances. She didn't get it, but you could still have her as someone in the background to build and have her as somebody to go for the NXT Women's Championship. But I don't see her going for it. But keeping her strong was the right move. Jacy Jane, I hope that they do something with it. I like Jacy Jane. I don't know about you guys, but I like Jacy Jane. But her steam and let me get into the chat real quick. We got Finn does not want Finn Balor to cash in. I read that one. I apologize. Someone please free Tony D. He hasn't shaved in weeks, which is terrible. If you don't shave him, as a guy with a beard, if I grow this extra facial hair, it's awful. You don't want to not go a week without. Stacks to me will probably get the win, absolutely. Jacy Jane versus Lyra Valkyrie match was pretty good, and the right person won. I agree to that, George. Jacy Jane looks to be dying down ever since her feud with Gigi. It has, and I don't think that should be a thing. I don't know. I like Jacy Jane. I just like her a lot, and I just want the best for her. So I don't like that her steam is going down. I hope that they realize that they have something special and that they do something with her because she's a great talker. And I think her in-ring stuff is pretty solid. We got also George. He mentioned then Kiana James' office was ransacked by Gigi Dolan, and she left a note saying about her past. Yes. So we have that, and I don't. The feud with Jane and Lyra, I don't see that being the end. Because after that, Jacy Jane attacked Lyra after the match. She's a sore loser, which is something like me because I play a fighting game. I don't know if you guys like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and stuff. When I would play games and I would lose, I would say things like, "I hate you," because I don't like to lose. I don't swing on people because that's just not my style. But this feud looked like it's not over. It looked like it's going to continue, especially with Jane ripping the wings off of Lyra Valkyrie. So Valkyrie. I'm sorry, I mispronounced that all completely. I'm sorry, I'm working by myself here, folks. I usually hope there's usually someone who corrects me. Bear with me. But she rips the wings, and this is going to continue. There was a segment where Vaughn beats up heavy body Habe, and I loved all of this because you know why? The big Von Wagner shows up. Now, I'm not a fan of you guys because you guys you guys want to cheer for Von Wagner. You guys want to act like y'all. I was there since day one. I was with Von Wagner. You know what? Let me see if I can find this real quick here, folks. Von Wagner is Von-tastic, actually. Let me see if I can find it. I'm hoping I can find it. I don't think I can find it. I don't think I can find it. It should be here, but it's not here. I'm very upset that I can't find it. But you know what clip I'm talking about when he threw somebody. I'm so mad I can't find it. That's awful. This is awful. Why can't I find it? All right, I'm not going to keep you guys here all night. That's terrible. I can't find it. I'm sorry. I just can't find it. But he beats up Javi Body, beats him up, power bombs him through a table. Von Wagner destroyed him. Absolutely. I love how I see that's your new gimmick, George. You just capitalize these words. Von Wagner destroyed him. Good job there, George. Von is embracing the cheers. Von is now a face. Yeah, he is a face. People are behind him. And I mean, I think this was the best thing for him because people were indifferent to him. He's a big dude. And that don't impress a lot of people. They're like, oh, look, he's a big guy, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But seeing how people are behind him, I think it's great. I think that's great. My only thing that's confusing to me, if I could just sit here and say, they have him, this piece of my hair is crooked, and that bothers me. This is bothersome. The thing that bothers me is, besides this crooked in my hair, is that they have him now as a free agent, and I just think they could have just kept him on the NXT. Like, what was the point of all that? I don't, like for me, what was the thought process? I don't know. Let's continue to move on here, folks. This was the main event of the night. We had Rip and Jagger representing Schism against the Creed brothers, and honestly, I did not I said earlier in the show that the Creed brothers losing, there was a small percentage of them losing, right? I didn't think of them losing. I was thinking Rip and Jagger, especially when you hear about their contracts, they want to expire it in, I believe, in October. Forgive me because I don't know the exact period that the period of their contract expiration. And seeing the Creeds lose, I was like, whoa, this blew my mind. I just never thought I just didn't think of them losing. So seeing them lose, and you guys in the chat, I forget exactly who, so please forgive me. You guys were mentioning all these possibilities, all these great matches that they're going to have on the main roster, and they are going to kill it when they go on the main roster. I don't see them, obviously, Usos. That's some time off, but Alpha Academy, Viking Raiders would be great. Matter of fact, they had some matches with the Viking Raiders on NXT. I forgot. Matter of fact, Roderick Strong was still there, so it was a while back. There's so many other tag teams. I can't think on the top of my head here because there's some other tag teams there. I mean, they're not going to be going against Sammy and Kevin anytime soon. Let me just throw that out there. But Rip and Jagger, they went out there and they performed. Matter of fact, the first 3 minutes of the match, if I can sit here and say, I thought Rip and Jagger were going to lose in 3 minutes. It was Brutus hit the Brutus cannon or Brutus bomb. Julius hit the shooting star press, and I said, "Whoa, we're going to end the match like this?" Like that just, and it didn't. Joe Gacy breaks up the fall. That's when the ref throws both Joe Gacy and Ava Reigns out. And then these two went on to have a pretty solid match. I thought the match was good. I thought the match was what it needed to be. I just didn't expect the ending. And we're going to get into the chats in a minute. The Jeffrey, you're so great. I see the Vaughn of the Vaughns, Clipjack, the marvelous Vaughn Wagner. You used to say that. I did. And I still do. I never turned on Vaughn. You guys turned on Vaughn. It was you guys. You guys in the chat are awful. But this match was what it had to be. And Rip and Jagger winning, it makes me go, what's going to happen further? Because you know Joe Gacy is going to turn on these guys. And I think what they did in this match here was to throw you off. I think a lot of people expected the Dyad to lose. And they went this route with them winning, only to push this further to have where Joe and Abe are going to turn on them. But the question is when. We got here in the chat, I've read the thing with Jeffrey. We got George here. I did not expect the Creed brothers to lose, but I guess that we might see them on the main. We are going to see them on the main roster. The question is when. So right now we're in July. I want to say somewhere after SummerSlam. I don't know for sure, obviously, but if I was taking a guess, I would say somewhere after SummerSlam. We got also, now that Ivy's going to do it alone, she now faces Tiffany Stratton. And that's fine. I think her being on NXT still, it doesn't hurt. Think about Big Cass and Enzo Amore was called up to the main roster, and they kept Carmelo down on NXT, which I think was the best for her. And look at her now. I think right now she's inactive, obviously, because she's pregnant. Shout out to her and respects to her. But I think it was the best thing for her. So I think Ivy staying down, it's a good thing. Same thing with Street Profits, because if I could just say real quick, Street Profits, they were called up to the main roster. And Bianca Belair didn't show up until, it was 2020. And once again, 2020 was a weird year, right? But she technically showed up at WrestleMania, if I'm right. This shocked me because I thought Dyad was losing. Creed's definitely moving up. Probably after SummerSlam. Yes, I think we have the same thought process. Jeffrey, shout out to you, sir. Ava Reigns stayed. The referee injected Joe Gacy, and I think Joe Gacy caused the Creed. I believe he totally did. He was the one in the mask, and he headbutted the hell out of Julius. And what was it, like a double cold breaker that beat Julius? The Creed brothers look strong in defeat, and I think also, too, they earned the respect they have to NXT. I was sitting here and say I think they've done everything they could in NXT. So them on the main roster, I'm interested, and I just hope that they get the opportunity to show what they can do. The Creed brothers were a team that it took a while for me to get like behind. I saw the talent, and I see even people, they always talk about Julius Creed. Julius Creed is phenomenal. But I look at Brutus. There's something about Brutus that just grabbed my, and maybe it's because of his size and what he can do. I don't know. That's something that just grabbed my attention about Brutus. So like I'm interested in seeing what they do with them. And also too, them being caught up on the main roster, if I could sit here and say, because I'm a fan of tag team wrestling. A lot of times I don't know if WWE is a fan of tag team wrestling. So them being added to that roster of tag teams, it's a thumbs up. We got Ava's going to be great as a single star. Just need a few more seasoning. I can agree to that, Jeffrey. I can agree to that, and I agree to that because I think with anybody, you give them some more time with anything. If it's wrestling or someone on the mic, give them some more time. Give them an opportunity. They'll shine. And there's something about Ivy that just she shines. I mean, first of all, let's be real. If I could sit and say she could beat up half the chat. And me, I'll throw it out there. She could just fling me into the sun. So yeah, I think she'll be just fine doing it by herself. Ava on the mic is getting better too. Sorry, Code. Ava on the mic is getting better too. She's looking more comfortable, and that's why I sit here and say she needs not just her, but anybody. If they get more reps, they'll get comfortable. Braun Breaker segment with Dragunov was pretty good. That brawl out there was setting up a match between them two, possibly at NXT. Yeah, so let's get to that segment. That's really the main event here. Hey guys, listen, you're watching Unpopular Review, the NXT review show. It is I, the Grand Poobah of Tuesday nights, aka the Bad Guy. I'm usually joined with a partner. Shout out to the rest of the dog. Thank you for being here. Next week is going to be a treat for you guys because it's going to be a three-way. I talked with Sawyer. She said she misses you guys. She talked to me. She said she misses you guys, and she's going to be on next week. Me, her, and the wrestling doll. Which pray for me, guys, because the wrestling doll is great. It's Shay Sawyer that I'm concerned about because she's it's not good. Let's talk about Booker T and the Black Fan. Listen, man, Booker T was prepared. Listen, Booker T came out and he said, bro, I'm going to be comfortable. And bro was comfortable. He was very, very comfortable. He went out there. He had this. Matter of fact, when he had the black white Vita, I was sitting there saying, yo, look at G.I. Bro out there. Look at G.I. Bro. I feel like there was a lot of pictures sent to me and I wasn't able to see. But let me, real quick, before we talk into this main event, here, we talked about Carmelo. Let me click it anyway. He called out the Judgment. Okay, we called out the Judgment Day. So next week, the Judgment Day is going to be out here on NXT. Melo and Trick Williams. We also, next week, we're going to get the debut of these two gentlemen, Bronco and Price. I think it says, I almost said Lucifer, but Lucina, Price. These guys, they're not blood brothers, but they're brothers. They talked about their upbringing, growing. So they're going to be debuting next week. Also next week, we are going to get Tiffany Stratton against Ivy Niles. This should be interesting to see what she does by herself. And also next week, I can't wait to review it with the Wrestling Doll and Sawyer, but we're going to have Andre Chase and Duke Hudson, the Fantastic Duke, against Drew Gulak and Charles Dempsey. That's all going to happen next week. I feel like there was other pictures and they just didn't upload because people just want to make my life difficult. Forgive me, I have an itch in the eye. That's why I'm rubbing my eye. But we have the Braun Breaker segment. Let's talk about that real quick. It's 11:38 at night, and I want to say thank you guys for staying with me because, jeez, it's pretty late. But you guys are wild and crazy because y'all staying up here late with me. Please continue to praise the word for Unpopular Review because this brand is great. Why is this hair problems? Maybe I'm gonna shave my head bald. Nah, I'm kidding with you guys. But Braun Breaker, he talks about he goes to the ring. Last week he yelled at Shawn Michaels, which I loved every minute of it. It made me an immediate fan of Braun Breaker because he yelled at Shawn Michaels. Yes. And Braun, he goes out there, he does a promo, he does a great job. He talks about how he had only 78 matches. He talked about not doing the indies. He talked about standing toe-to-toe with Seth Rollins. I have yet to watch that match. That match must have been really... And I know that match was good. I was out, so I missed that match. So I feel like now I have to watch that match back. But he talked about standing toe-to-toe with Seth Rollins. Talked about being only 25 years old, which I'll be 35 this year. And I'm sitting there saying, damn, I'm sitting there saying, damn, you've done more than I have. So shout out to Braun Breaker, 25, kicking ass. And he says, get used to this face. He says, I'm going to be around for a long time to come, and I'm going to win more championships, and I'm just going to do all these, I'm going to do a lot of things. To which I was like, yeah. Keep doing. Listen, I've been a fan of Braun Breaker since day one. I don't know if you guys know this. So I'm happy that Braun is the light. Don't you laugh at me. And then Braun says, what's next? What's next? Which, honestly, he listen, I like Braun, but I don't like liars. Matter of fact, hold on. I should put him on the list. Jeffrey, take away 5 points. I don't want to give 10 because I don't want to get destroyed by Braun Breaker. So negative 5 points for Braun Breaker, please. Because he lied. He didn't beat Camilla Hayes. That was a lie. He didn't do that. Then comes Dragunov. And you know what's funny? When I hear Dragunov's music, I immediately do this, and then I tear my rotator cuff because I don't drink enough milk. I'm not a fan. I just don't drink milk. There we go. Negative 5 points for Braun. You know what? You're the new scorekeeper, Jeffrey. Good job. I like that. I want to see how those two fare next week. Talking about George, we got Jack is great. Thank you, Jeffrey. You're fantastic. Thank you. That was a great match, Jack. Watch it. I'm gonna try to watch it back. I missed it because I was out, but I knew it was a great test for Braun Breaker because getting in the ring, Seth Rollins is great. I think no one can ever take away the talent and ability that how great Seth Rollins is. So him getting in the ring and keeping up with, there was this spot that I saw in the match. If I could just real quick. I think Seth was going for like an aerial move. Braun run up the turnbuckles and hit a Frankensteiner. And then I believe he went and hit his finish, the military press to the slam. Braun is great. I think he's going to do a fantastic job on the main roster when he gets called up. If you follow Big Pop, there's a poll going up. And the question was, when he gets called up to the main roster, would he be a babyface or a heel? And I'm interested in hearing what you guys think. I love Dragunov against Braun is going to be fire. Absolutely. I mean, they touched a little bit in that triple threat match. Was it Halloween Havoc? I'm sorry, hiccups. Halloween Havoc. I forget exactly. But it was a triple threat between him, JD, and Braun, JD, and Dragunov. And you know that these guys are going to deliver in this match. So, to me, it looks like this is going to be the match. And it looks like it's going to be Braun's swan song, which will be fun because Braun has accomplished everything he could possibly do in NXT. I mean, sure, he didn't win the North American Championship, but I don't think he needs to do any of that stuff. I think him being called, and I would even ask, where do you think he should be? I said for the Creeds, I would put him on Raw. I would put Braun on SmackDown. I think Braun on SmackDown would be great. I think Braun on SmackDown, I talked on the Big Pop Theory podcast. I feel like I just talk in general because I just always talk. Austin Theory's title run on as the United States champion, it just felt so dull. What has he? And it's not even Austin Theory. It's not Austin Theory. It's not talented. It's just his run is just, I would put the United States Championship on Braun. I think there's something about Braun as the United States champion I would be for because he's not beating Roman. Like, I don't think we have JL in the chat because I know he's a huge Braun fan, and shout out to him. I wish he was here because he would probably tell me I'm wrong, but he's not beating Roman. That's not a thing. I'm sorry, he's not doing that. But him beating Austin Theory for the championship, I'll be for that. We got also that that spear out of nowhere was fantastic too to Seth. Yeah, a lot of people were talking. He mentioned that in his promo. I would keep Braun Breaker as a heel, talking George. I agree. I just think I think as years go on, he could be a great babyface, but I would keep him as a heel. By SummerSlam for Braun, LA Knight for the United States Championship. Yeah, LA Knight. Yeah, and it took me a while to be a fan of his. Yeah, I would be totally for him being that because he's not beating. Even if he was to win Money in the Bank, let's be real. Do you think he was beating Roman Reigns? No. I would definitely put Braun on SmackDown and have him challenge Theory for the United States Championship. But I heard that LA Knight is going for the challenge for the United States Championship, which would be fine. It would be fine. I just think they need to get that belt off Austin Theory. Austin Theory, as champion, hasn't been. Gunther, as Intercontinental Champion, has been like freaking killing it. Freaking killing it. I know I cursed earlier and I dropped the F-bomb earlier, and I apologize about that because I cuss. But Gunther is the Intercontinental Champion, and I tell people all the time when it comes to these titles, and they talk about, oh, this is a problem, this is a problem. These belts should feel freaking important. And Austin Theory as the United States Champion is not so important. It is cold. It's cold. Right now, we are in July. Why is it cold? This is not November or December or January. Why is it cold? It's just not working. And I'll throw my notes here. But it's just not working. So you said LA Knight. I would put it on Braun. I think that would be a hell of a way to put the champ. But then it's like heel versus heel. I don't know if we can go that route. Jeffrey mentioned Theory has been missing, and that's a shame. That's a shame. I know right now they paired him with Pretty Deadly, which is probably it's great, but his run has not been killing it. And I just think Austin Theory is someone who should be killing. I'll say this to you guys. He beat John Cena at WrestleMania, and what has happened since? Beating John Cena should feel like a big deal. It doesn't. It doesn't. Austin Theory has been lackluster as United States Champion, youngest missing U.S. champion in history. And it's a shame because I think he has all the tools. There's something, he's clearly special. And what's happening? But listen, guys, I'm not going to hold you any longer. Listen, guys, you've been watching Unpopular Review NXT edition. I am the bad guy. I'm joined with the Wrestling Doll. She stepped out, and she wishes to continue to be here, but she had to do something. I want to give a shout out to her. I want to give a shout out to next week. We're going to have Shay Sawyer back on. It's going to be a three-way. We call ourselves the NXT 3, so we hope that you guys tune in for next week. Also, continue to – I'm not going to put graphics up, folks. I'm not going to do that. I want you guys to hear my voice. I want you to see my expression as I sit here and I talk to you guys. On Mondays, you can catch the Mike Knox Show, Perfect Plex. It's at 6 p.m. It's for the intelligent wrestling fan. That's why I'm always there. You know why I'm always there? Because I am the teacher. Matter of fact, I am going to put the graphics up. I'm sorry, I lied. I need to lie to you guys. I don't have a graphic. No, I do have a graphic. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm doing this by myself. Bear with me. But we have once it goes up. Okay, it is up. I'm sorry. This is an old graphic, so forgive me. But you can catch them Mondays at 6 p.m. The Mike Knox Show, Perfect Plex Radio Talk. Mike Knox is great. If you want to hear yelling, that's not on Tuesday nights. You can catch him Monday at 6 p.m. You can also watch the wrestling podcast here on Unpopular Review. You can catch. I'm sorry, I don't have a graphic. I believe they go on around 9. That it's during Raw. You can catch the Coolest of the Day, Big Daddy Cool, and the executive Chris, and they talk everything wrestling as well. I believe on Mondays and on Wednesdays you can catch. You guys watch AEW. You can watch right after AEW go off the air. AEW Dynamite. You can catch the Z is Silent. What sometimes executive consultant. Sometimes you can catch the Sheriff. They talk AEW. Also, I mean, I don't have entertainment stuff here, folks, but on entertainment, there's so many things going on. On Wednesdays tomorrow around 8:30, 9 o'clock, we're going to be reviewing Secret Invasion. If you guys are Marvel fans, we're on episode 3. We'll give our thoughts on this 6-part series. It's a great time. So there's a link to the entertainment side. Cheap plug also, too. You can catch the Wrestling Doll. She has a YouTube channel. If you guys are not familiar with it, and if you guys have not subscribed to it, please subscribe to our channel. She talked about filming all kinds of wrestling around the Florida state. So please give that a follow. And also, too, if I can plug here, I'm gonna put on I'll put up our graphic. I'm going to give a cheap plug here for the Big Pop Theory podcast. It's an audio podcast with both me and Shay Sawyer. I got to talk to the poster guy. I don't know why he did that to Shay. I don't know what he was doing. But it's an audio podcast. You can catch us on Spotify, Podcaster, which was called Anchor, and Google Podcasts. We talk about the week of wrestling. We give our thoughts. It's always a good time. We also have a YouTube channel, the Big Pop Theory Podcast. We only go live for the wrestling podcast. We go live for the wrestling pay-per-views. We're also trying to add more content. Excuse me, as I lose my voice here. We're trying to add more content, even like a watch along. So if you guys have suggestions for a match that we should watch back on, and it's on the network because it makes it easier, we'll watch back, give our thoughts, and all that stuff. So yeah, we're trying to add more content to the YouTube channel. We also got. Let me read the chat room. You did great, Jack. Shout out to Wrestling Dog. Thank you. It's hard to do a solo, so I was hoping that I was able to do a good job. So thank you guys. Right, George. I gotta see what George said. George, I'm sorry, I missed George's comment. Let me get there. Let me go up here real quick. Cause I want to get. George Johnson said to Derry, if he beat him, he's going to be a lackluster. He did call that. He did, and I think there was also too that he said something over the lines of he doesn't believe him, and this was like a shoot where he doesn't believe in theory and things that he said. We got right, George. I'm sorry, because I wanted to go back up to make sure. Drew McIntyre is a Gunther for the Intercontinental Champion. I'm all for it. Absolutely. And you know what? I think Gunther still retains because I think they want to go with Gunther breaking the Honky Tonk title. We got look at that graphic. Where's Bobby? Where is Bobby? We do need Bobby. Where is Bobby? The sheriff was funny on that one AEW episode, giving someone that. Oh, I'm not gonna lie. I had to stop for a minute. We got Shay is too small. I tell her all the time. When you review her show, tell her stop being so small. I tell her all the time, stop shrinking. I didn't do that, by the way. I want you guys to know that. The Uso versus Roma and Soul Sequoia. I'll sit here and say this real quick. I think you guys want to talk wrestling, so I could talk a little wrestling. When Jay pinned Roman, I wasn't a fan of it. I can see why people say it makes sense, but I feel like with Jay pinning Roman, now it's out the bag. It's like not the shock factor anymore. I wasn't for Jay being the one to pin Roman, but it already happened. I'm not mad at it. It's just I wouldn't have gone with that. I feel like if Roman is pinned, and this is just how I feel, if Roman is pinned, it should be for the undisputed was it the undisputed championship? I don't even know what this title is. He has 3 belts at this point. I don't know. It should be for the championship. Is my point. So I don't know. I wasn't too much of a fan of it. But Tribal Court on Friday. See, I'm trying to get tickets to go to Madison Square Garden because I live out here in New York, and I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. But I will be looking forward to that. The Tribal Court. I don't know why he's on court because he's great. Why is he on court? Because he's great. Anyway, guys, this is Unpopular Review. You guys were great. Thank you guys for keeping me company here on this Tuesday. You guys are great. You guys are phenomenal. I hope you guys tune in next Tuesday. I hope you continue to follow Unpopular Review. Follow Jeffrey mentioned how small Shay is. Maybe in the next post it should be like this big. Anyway, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to get yelled at. Anyway, where's the outro? Right, I got to do this by myself. We got this stuff in the chat. Matter of fact, let me read this real quick before I exit. What we got here? 2 champions are for show. It is for show. The gold one is his actual belt, but he still comes out with like 3 freaking belts. I thought that Solo was getting the pin, but it looks like they wanted Roman Reigns to be pinned, and it's the first time Roman has been pinned in over 3 years. No, absolutely, it's the first time, and I think also too you want to protect Solo. Solo shouldn't always be eating the pin. I understand that. It's just that Roman. Well, how you mentioned, almost 3 years he hasn't been pinned. But Roman is so given that for me, I'm like, he shouldn't have done that. But Roman is given, and shout out to him for being given and not selfish. Like wrestling, I'm pretty sure you guys watch wrestling for a long period of time and you realize how wrestlers could be selfish, and he wasn't. So shout out to him for not being selfish. But I'm gonna end my thoughts here. Listen to the Big Pop 30 podcast. I'll give some thoughts there. This is the outro, and I'm gonna say good night, folks, and thank you for joining me. And you guys rock. Hey, thank you guys for watching Unpopular Review, the NXT review show. I don't know if you. I hope you guys have a great night. You guys rock. See you next Tuesday.